The combination of the disgruntled youths, the ethnic champions, and commercial clerics, or what we call pastorpreneurs. These were the reasons Obi thought he could win a presidential election in Nigeria. Such illogic is not strange to the Labour Party.
West Africa.
So, gentlemen of the press, welcome once again. It's become so necessary for us to address you again today to respond to both the candidates of the PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and the LP Labour Party candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, following their separate press conferences, which held yesterday. We must ab initio thank the two of them for finally opting for the rule of law as against the initial belligerent posture as they continue their baseless journey of chasing after a mirage. Those who lay claim to democratic credentials are expected to be conscious of those inimitable minimum requirements of law and order, even in the face of perceived injustice. The initial knee-jerk and hot-head call for anarchy by their proxies was ill-advised and would in no way serve any noble cause. It is good to know, or we assume, that reason has prevailed. Let us say unequivocally that we welcome the decision of both the PDP and the LP, and also the NNP candidates, to test their claims, as ridiculous as these claims are, in the court of law as provided for by our Constitution. This is without prejudice to the conciliatory efforts of the President-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He has reiterated in his post-declaration speeches the need for all Nigerians, irrespective of whom we all voted for, to rally quickly together for the good of our country. We must say, however, that listening to both Atiku and Obi yesterday left us in the APC family a little shocked. We understand that there has been an orchestrated campaign by the acolytes of PDP and LP in the media to discredit the presidential election. What we did not expect is that the two presidential candidates, and indeed their political parties, would shamefully re-echo the puerile and unimaginative arguments that are being canvassed by political neophytes, political illiterates, and mischief makers who are crying wolf on the social media. As we all can see, these two otherwise experienced politicians are pinpointing lack of adherence to the guidelines as basis for discrediting the votes lawfully cast by Nigerians. We shall examine the so-called process that was purportedly breached by the electoral body and how in their wildest imagination it undermined the credibility of this election. The claim that INEC did not use beavers is patently false. Those who voted across Nigeria, including Atiku and Obi, were accredited by beavers. Save for bad losers that these two people have proven to be, we should rather be celebrating the tremendous improvement the use of beavers has brought to our electoral process. The complaint over electronic transmission of the result is not anywhere supported by law. Section 38 of the Electoral Act 2022, referred to by the PDP and LP, has absolutely nothing to do with transmission of election results. Section 60, subsection 2 of the Act deals with transmission of results, and it is at the discretion of INEC. I take that again. Section 60, subsection 2 of the Act deals with transmission of results, and it is at the discretion of INEC. The Act does not contain any mandatory provision regarding the transmission of results. In any case, the process of transmitting results from polling units, whether real time, 2 days later, or at any time, for that matter, cannot in any way change the results that have been announced right after the counting in the presence of the party's agents and to the hearing of the voters at each polling unit. It is therefore nonsensical and disingenuous to insinuate that time variation in uploading results would cause a change in the figures. These figures have been announced at the polling booths. So uploading or not has no effect on the validity and credibility of those figures. The 2023 presidential election is a watershed as it produced unprecedented outcomes and defied conventions. The deployment and use of beavers is the only reason this election produced these strange outcomes and upsets in many cases. The loss of Katsina and Lagos to PDP and LP respectively were contrary to expectations. Beavers brought the intended credibility to voters' accreditation such that many governors and well-established politicians lost elections in what should be normally safe bet areas. The era of ghost voting and stuffing of ballot boxes is gone. As the experience in the last governorship election in Osun State has shown, overvoting would automatically lead to outright cancellation of the results of the polling units based on the provision of the new Electoral Act. The same PDP that is trying to pull wool across the face of Nigerians was the culprit in the Osun State governorship election. Now, we dare ask, did they try to do it again this time and it failed? Or did they do it in the areas they unexpectedly won? Did they have a grand plan to hack the INEC server if results were uploaded in real time? Nigerians will soon find out. Contrary to the false claims of Atiku and Obi, the reasons for losing elections were foretold. Besides the delusional expectations created during the campaigns to hoodwink the public, most PDP leaders knew their party had been decimated by Mr. Obi. The Southeast and the South-South that were traditional strongholds of PDP constituted the core support base for the Labour Party. PDP went into this election without its limbs and lied to itself that it could win the race. It is worthy of note that Atiku also accepted this fact during his press conference yesterday, when he lamented that his party's votes in the Southeast and South-South regions were carted away by the Labour Party. In another breath, the same Atiku, at his press conference yesterday, stated emphatically that Peter Obi had no pathway to victory. He said so. Go and rewatch that press conference. He said the Labour Party had no pathway to victory. So, if he's claiming victory, Obi is claiming victory. Who is now claiming victory? Now, two of them are claiming victory. We own the victory.
That's right.
So we appeal to them or advise them that they should go and sort themselves out and decide between the two of them who actually lays claim to victory that is already in our possession. To second level. The PDP also found itself in number 3 in Kano, with a former member, Kwankaso, running away with over 900,000 votes. So the PDP was terribly depleted before the election. How far could the PDP have gone with what was left of it? Not so far, as the results of the elections have shown. In fact, the members of the G5, you are aware of the famous G5, the 5 governors. They were key leaders of the party, of the PDP, with substantial political influence, they also went away with their own pound of flesh, leaving a very crippled PDP to scavenge for crumbs of votes. For Peter Obi, he will go down as Nigeria's most dangerous and divisive politician.
Yes.
He elevated his well-known clannish mentality to a most unfortunate height by openly anchoring his campaign on religion and ethnicity. Obi presented himself as a poster boy for and a champion of our country's fault lines. He took advantage of our youths whose expectations are fast-paced, who are uninterested in excuses, and who are in search of a hero. He pumped up their sentiments and rode on their emotions while grandstanding as a savior. It was a false pretense. Obi's credentials are eternally stained as a former governor with no remarkable legacy. Not a few of our youths thought Peter Obi looked like the leader they wanted, and many of them could not tolerate any form of scrutiny of their newfound hero. The combination of the disgruntled youths, the ethnic champions, and commercial clerics, or what we call pastorpreneurs, these were the reasons Obi thought he could win a presidential election in Nigeria. Such illogic is not strange to the Labour Party. If Labour Party could not fill up its own quota for polling booth agents with a shortfall of over 40,000 agents, how did it intend to compete with political parties like the APC and the PDP? It will be interesting to see what evidence of rigging the Labour Party will present before the court when the party could not appoint agents to monitor nearly a quarter of the venues of polling. As we look forward to an encounter with both PDP and LP at the court, we want to enjoin the two of them to pursue their grievances with decorum. They should encourage their members, supporters, and ethnic and religious consultants to follow the path of the rule of law. We note that both Atiku and Obi are claiming victory. Wouldn't it then make a lot of sense for them to agree who the actual winner is before challenging the APC in court? Meanwhile, the APC train has left the station as we continue our efforts to make Nigeria better for all Nigerians. Thank you very much.
One Voice Africa.
One Voice Africa TV, telling real African stories.